What is going on, Lucid fans? Welcome back to Fanatic Journey. So today I want to give you an overview of what is happening with Lucid, go over some of the data points, talking what shorts are doing, and a lot of people are starting to mention how Lucid is primed and ready for a short squeeze, and that has been heavily manipulated for some time. So I just wanted to break that down and talk on if there's any validity to that or not. Before I get into any of that, make sure to hit that thumbs up and subscribe. I always greatly appreciate it. And with that, let's get right to it. So currently it is up 1.38%, still lower percentile of the Bollinger Band, still below the 50-day moving average, a little bit low for volume, so 16.08 million shares being traded, 35.7 is the average, and that's kind of been the case for a while, like I've been bringing up on last couple videos. Just as you can see right here, only 2 transactions that have occurred so far on the secondary market, so very low. Big money is just taking a very notable step back. And similarly, if you're kind of looking right here, generally, if you kind of look back, number of retail investors have been taking a step back as well based on the momentum indicator. They're slowly getting in slightly today, but clearly not enough to really do massive increases. But still, of course, when it comes down to the technicals, more so the fib levels, it is currently trading between this S3 and this S2, with it being at $6.27. So 5.76 is a very strong support. $6.43 is a next big resistance. But still, the fact that it is trading between this S3 and this S2 level, the pivot points, that shows that it is lagging the broader market, because the majority of the other EVs and just growth stocks in general are trading somewhere between this either S1 to the pivot, and in some cases, the ones that are, I guess, heavily reliant on debt are trading between this S2 and this S1. So Lucid is actually trading below any of those companies. So they've been beaten down for a very long time. And of course, there's certain things to be obviously blaming for that, one of which is just Lucid themselves. Of course, there's that whole demand issue with some of their vehicles that's been lingering around for a while, but I'm actually very impressed based on their Q2 earnings. So with obviously their Q2 earnings and what they gave for future guidance, I do not feel that where Lucid is at right now is justified. So I think this is also aiding in why people are talking about a short squeeze. So I'll give you guys a quick overview of what shorts are doing today. So currently they are increasing 1.19 million shares. 24.13% of the free float is being shorted. So typically over the last several videos, that is one point that I have brought up. Exactly. 24.13% is just insanely high. And of course, when it comes down to that point, like there's a lot of stocks out there, more specifically even EVs, that have not produced a single thing, but yet they do have a lot lower of a short interest. So I don't know why shorts are really targeting Lucid specifically, especially with having the PIF behind them. And speaking on that, I think that shorts in reality with Lucid are overextending themselves a little bit. And you can also tell that based on the whole failure to deliver. There's an immense amount of failure to deliver, almost 15.6 million. So of course, when it comes down to that, that does insinuate most likely there is a lot of naked shorting that is happening with Lucid. So again, I just feel that shorts are getting just very greedy and overextending themselves quite significantly with Lucid. And going back over here, so 199.73 million shares overall are being shorted. Cost to borrow average is 1.96. And even looking right here, typically what happens after hours, or even more so in the afternoon, there's always a broker that does typically pay people to short Lucid. So the cost to borrow minimum sometimes actually does dip negative. So like I said, that is a very clear sign of manipulation. And just to put it in perspective on how much shorts are involved in Lucid, right here it does show $1.23 billion worth of shorts out there. So once again, kind of significant. And looking at market beat, this kind of puts it in perspective as well. Somehow they're saying 45.41% is the short interest. So maybe they're kind of looking at some other aspect, or maybe including failure to deliver in some format. But even comparing itself to a lot of other EVs, so Rivian is 13.59, NIO is 6.07, Polestar is 2.11, there's also Ford 3.71, and GM, which is 1.96. So compared to all of that, it just does not make sense. So this is where, like I said, a lot of people are talking on how there is and may be a short squeeze coming in the foreseeable future. And of course, one very good way to tell about the whole manipulation is look looking at where all the stock is going, through which exchange and so forth. So as you can see, over the last 30 days, almost about 46% of all the traded volume was diverted off exchange, meaning the dark pool. And in case you guys don't know anything about the dark pool, whatever happens on the dark pool, whether it be a massive buy or a sell, it does not influence the stock price at all. So of course you have to be on one of the other exchanges for it to count towards the actual share price changing. And when it comes down to who is responsible for diverting all this volume off exchange, that is the market makers. So such as even Citadel and many others. So this is why a lot of people typically do blame those institutions such as, like I said, Citadel. I think they're the more known one. But even today, right now, 46.43% of the daily volume is diverted off the exchange. So there could have been some pretty significant transactions on here that's just been brushed under the rug. And these are all the transactions that have occurred so far today on the secondary market. So not too many as far as the frequency, but on a typical day, this far exceeds what is being done on the secondary market. So once again, let me know you guys' thoughts on all of that. And one thing that this does bring up as well under market beat is the fact that institutions absolutely love Lucid, and over the last little bit have been increasing, such as even BlackRock. So BlackRock did increase their position 32%, so they do have 45 million shares of Lucid. And even good old Vanguard, so Vanguard right here did increase their position within Q2 25.85%, and they have 73 million shares of Lucid. So a lot of institutions behind the scenes absolutely love Lucid and are increasing it. Just maybe there's one or two bad apples behind the scenes that might not necessarily agree. So I do feel that behind the scenes there could be a squeeze. Just in order for a squeeze to occur, you need 4 different things, like I've brought up in the past. You need a high utilization, you need a fairly high cost to borrow, you need a lot of shares being shorted, and then finally you need a 4th one. This is the part that Lucid has kind of missed on and lacked, is a surprise catalyst. So of course, when it comes down to a surprise catalyst, it has to be a surprise to absolutely everyone. That way it catches people off guard, similar to about that whole, I guess, privatization, that rumor that came out in January once again. So I think that caught everyone off guard, and this is why on that day, I believe shorts did return almost, I think it was around 20 million shares if I remember correctly, and that's not even counting the naked shorting and stuff like that. So there is a lot of opportunity potentially in the future, but still, moving on from that, at the time of doing this video, there hasn't been any SEC filings, no press releases, nothing like that. The market's going to be closing in roughly, looks like 2 minutes, give or take. And as far as options activity right now, so $1.07 million in calls being purchased versus 737,000 in puts. So based on this information right here, people are anticipating for it to trend up over, I guess, a foreseeable future. And based on this, if you are optimistic, so this shows all the calls as far as the grid view, it has all the strike prices, expiry dates. Based on this information, it is anticipated to go between the $6.50 and around $8 by the end of next week. This is just merely a sentiment though, it does not move the stock price at all. So let me know you guys' thoughts on all of this in the comments below. I know I did kind of go off topic a little bit, but do you realistically feel that Lucid could ever have a short squeeze? And potentially, if so, how high do you think it can go? Like I mentioned, when it did run up in January, so just zooming out a little bit, so when it did run up all the way to, I think it was around $18 give or take, if I remember correctly, so $17.81 actually being the high, that did result in only 20 million shares being returned by shorts. And currently there is almost 200 million. So definitely something big could potentially come. Just you need that surprise catalyst. And with 2 actual events coming up, so of course there's going to be the gravity one. I think if I remember correctly, that one is going to be in October. And then there's also the Sapphire. I think that one is going to be in September, if I remember correctly. Or maybe I have the dates wrong. But still, let me know you guys' thoughts on all of this. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up and subscribe. I always greatly appreciate that. One thing that you can do, even though Lucid goes up, down, sideways, take advantage of some free promos, and that is with Moomoo. Link in the description below and also the comments. Completely free to sign up for an account, but if you do throw $100 at it, you can get up to 5 free stocks. Each stock is valued up to $2,000, and you also get a $50 cash reward. So this, hands down, is one of the best deals that you can get. Link in the description below and also the comments. This is only available to Americans, so just be aware of that. But if you are Canadian, for instance, you can also sign up through their app, and just using your phone number, no other information whatsoever, and then you can enter for a chance to win some gift cards such as Tim's, Amazon, and stuff like that. Obviously it has to be Tim's because that is straight up Canadian. So with that said, I appreciate you guys watching. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up. And with that said, let's all make a ton of money on Lucid.